What would happen if you turned the traction control off on an 820 horsepower Ferrari 296?
When Mat Armstrong revealed the destroyed Ferrari 296 GTB, even hardcore car fans were left speechless. Twisted metal, shattered carbon fiber, and a repair bill that could bankrupt most people turned this once beautiful supercar into what many call Ferrari's worst nightmare. But while others saw a hopeless wreck, Mat saw the ultimate challenge. Every damaged panel, every failed system, and every warning light became part of a battle that pushed his skills to the absolute limit. The deeper he went into the rebuild, the more impossible the project seemed, exposing just how complicated and brutally expensive modern Ferraris have become. Yet that's exactly what made the story so powerful. A man refusing to walk away from a machine the world had already given up on. In a world where most people only dream about owning a Ferrari, Mat Armstrong dared to rebuild one that looked beyond saving, turning disaster into one of the most intense automotive journeys ever seen on YouTube. The moment the wrecked Ferrari 296 GTB rolled into garage, the atmosphere completely changed. This wasn't just another damaged supercar with a few broken panels and suspension parts. This machine looked like it had survived a war. The front end was crushed beyond recognition. Wiring hung out from every direction, and expensive carbon fiber components were shattered into pieces scattered across the floor. Even experienced mechanics would hesitate before touching something this complicated. But Mat Armstrong stood there staring at the Ferrari with the same expression he always had whenever people told him something was impossible. For him, the challenge itself was a reason to continue. The Ferrari 296 GTB wasn't just expensive because of the badge on the hood. It represented the future of Ferrari engineering, a twin-turbo V6 hybrid monster packed with technology so advanced that even small repairs could cost thousands upon thousands of dollars. Hidden beneath the beautiful bodywork were systems that only Ferrari-certified technicians fully understood. Every sensor, every module, every cable seemed designed to make independent repairs nearly impossible. That's why many viewers instantly understood the danger of this project. Mat wasn't simply rebuilding a wrecked Ferrari. He was going to war against one of the most technologically advanced supercars ever built as the teardown began. The true scale of the damage slowly revealed itself. Parts that initially looked reparable turned out to be destroyed internally. Mounting points were bent. Cooling systems were leaking. Electronics were completely dead. The hybrid system alone terrified people watching the rebuild because one mistake around high-voltage components could end the entire project instantly. Yet Mat kept moving forward piece by piece, refusing to panic even when new problems appeared every single day. That determination became the heart of the entire story. The deeper the rebuild went, the more viewers realized why Ferraris like the 296 GTB rarely get repaired outside official dealerships. Ferrari systems are extremely protective, and many components require factory-level programming just to function correctly. Even something as simple as replacing modules could trigger endless warning lights and lock critical systems. At times, it felt like the car itself didn't want to be rebuilt. Every victory uncovered two more problems hiding underneath. But instead of quitting, Mat pushed harder. What made the project so addictive to watch was the uncertainty surrounding it. Nobody truly knew whether this Ferrari would ever drive again. The damage was so severe that each repaired section only exposed more hidden destruction underneath. One day brought progress, while the next brought complete disaster. Parts were delayed, costs exploded, and technical problems stacked up faster than solutions could be found. Yet somehow, that chaos only made the audience more invested. People weren't watching for perfection anymore. They were watching to see whether pure determination could overcome engineering design for billionaires. As weeks passed, the garage slowly transformed from a disaster zone into something far more hopeful. Fresh parts arrived. Broken systems started coming back to life. Panels began fitting together again. The Ferrari slowly started looking like a car instead of a nightmare. But appearances meant nothing at this stage. The real battle was hidden underneath the surface, buried deep within software, sensors, hybrid systems, and electronic communication networks. One failed calibration could undo months of work instantly. Then came one of the biggest moments of the entire rebuild, the first attempt to power the car properly. Tension filled the garage because nobody knew what would happen. Modern Ferraris are not simple machines that roar back to life after reconnecting a battery. They're incredibly sensitive computers on wheels. One wrong signal could trigger complete failure. The anticipation became unbearable as viewers waited for signs of life. And when systems finally began responding, even small successes felt massive. Lights illuminated, screens activated. Components started communicating again. For the first time, the impossible suddenly felt real. But Ferrari's nightmare was far from over. The first startup attempt exposed even more hidden problems buried inside the car's complex systems. Error messages flooded the dashboard. Certain modules refused to cooperate. Strange noises created panic. At moments, it genuinely looked like the Ferrari might never fully recover from the crash. Yet this is where Mat Armstrong's mindset separated him from everyone else. Most people see setbacks as reasons to stop. He treated them like puzzles waiting to be solved. Viewers became emotionally invested because the rebuild stopped feeling like ordinary car content. It became a story about persistence. Every repaired component represented hours of frustration, research, and risk. There were moments where the financial side alone made no sense anymore. Repair costs continued climbing higher and higher, turning the project into a terrifying gamble. But by that point, it wasn't just about money or views anymore. The Ferrari had become something personal. A machine that everyone doubted could ever return to life. One of the most shocking realities of the rebuild was discovering how insanely expensive Ferrari ownership truly is. Tiny components cost ridiculous amounts. Specialized parts sometimes carried waiting lists stretching for months. Even diagnostic procedures became complicated battles requiring advanced tools and expert knowledge. The 296 GTB exposed a side of exotic car ownership most people never see. Beneath the glamorous Instagram photos and roaring exhaust clips lies a brutal truth. Modern supercars are engineering masterpieces, but they can also become financial nightmares overnight. And still, Matt continued. That relentless determination inspired millions of viewers because people saw more than a mechanic fixing a car. They saw someone refusing to surrender under pressure. Every challenge pushed him further, but somehow he always returned the next day ready to fight again. The rebuild became proof that passion can drive people far beyond normal limits. Most people would have sold the wreck for parts and walked away. Mat Armstrong chose a harder road every single time that as the Ferrari moved closer to completion. Excitement across the automotive world exploded. Fans waited desperately for the moment the car would finally hit the road again. Could this heavily damaged hybrid Ferrari actually perform like it once did? Would hidden problems destroy everything after months of effort? Nobody knew. That uncertainty made the final stages even more intense. Then came the day everyone had been waiting for. The Ferrari finally rolled out under its own power once again. The sound alone felt emotional because it represented survival. Months earlier, this machine looked destined for a scrapyard. Now it was alive again, rebuilt through patient skill and pure stubborn determination. Watching the 296 GTB move again felt almost unreal considering how catastrophic the damage originally was. But perhaps the most powerful part of the story wasn't Ferrari itself. IT was the message behind the rebuild. In a world where people quit the moment things become difficult, this project showed the power of persistence. The Ferrari represented impossible odds, overwhelming complexity, and constant setbacks. Yet step by step, problem by problem, the impossible slowly became reality. That's why millions of people connected with the journey. It wasn't just about a supercar anymore. It became a reminder that some challenges are worth fighting for no matter how impossible they appear in the beginning. And somewhere deep beneath the carbon fiber bodywork and advanced hybrid systems, the rebuilt Ferrari 296 GTB carried scars that told a story far greater than speed or luxury. It became proof that even the world's most broken machines can return to life when the right person refuses to give up on them. Even after the Ferrari returned to the road, the pressure surrounding the project never disappeared. In many ways, the hardest part had only just begun. Rebuilding a destroyed Ferrari 296 GTB inside a garage is one thing. Proving it can survive real-world driving is something completely different. Every mile created tension because one hidden fault could destroy months of work instantly. The audience understood that modern Ferraris are incredibly unforgiving machines. One overheating issue, one electrical failure, or one software malfunction could turn the dream back into a nightmare within seconds. For Mat Armstrong, the first serious test drive felt like stepping into unknown territory. The Ferrari looked complete on the outside, but deep down nobody truly knew whether every system would cooperate under pressure. The hybrid powertrain, turbocharged engine, cooling systems, and electronic controls all had to work together perfectly. That's what made the project so terrifying. Unlike older supercars, the 296 GTB depends heavily on advanced software and precision engineering. There's almost no room for mistakes as the Ferrari accelerated down the road. Viewers could feel the tension through the screen. Every gear shift sounded like a victory. Every smooth corner felt like proof that the impossible rebuild might actually succeed. But Matt knew better than anyone that rebuilt supercars rarely reveal all their problems immediately. Sometimes issues appear days later. Sometimes they wait until the car is pushed hard. That uncertainty followed him everywhere. Then came the moment people had been waiting for since the beginning, pushing the Ferrari harder than ever before. The sound of the twin-turbo hybrid powertrain screaming at full force reminded everyone why the 296 GTB is considered one of Ferrari's most advanced creations. Brutal acceleration, instant hybrid torque, and razor-sharp response transformed the rebuilt wreck into a machine that once again looked worthy of the Ferrari badge. It was almost impossible to believe this was the same destroyed car people had once called hopeless. But success brought new attention. Across social media and automotive communities, debates exploded about the rebuild. Some people praised Mat Armstrong for proving that independent creators can achieve things once limited to official manufacturers. Others questioned whether modern Ferraris should even be rebuilt outside factory networks. That controversy only made the project bigger. The Ferrari 296 GTB became more than just content. It became a symbol of the growing battle between traditional manufacturers and the new generation of creators willing to challenge impossible projects publicly. What shocked many viewers most was the amount of hidden knowledge required to complete the rebuild. Modern supercars are designed in ways that often discourage independent repairs. Manufacturers protect software systems, restrict access to diagnostic tools, and tightly control parts distribution. For ordinary owners, even small damage can result in enormous repair bills. Through this project, Matt exposed just how complicated and closed off the exotic car world has become. Behind the luxury image lies a system where only a small number of people are expected to truly understand the machines. That's why fans respected the rebuild so much. It wasn't just entertaining. It revealed realities the automotive industry rarely shows publicly. People saw firsthand how fragile these ultra-expensive cars could become after accidents. They also saw how determination and problem-solving can overcome obstacles that initially look unbeatable. Every repaired sensor, every corrected fault code, and every successful test drive represented hours of frustration hidden behind the scenes. The emotional connection grew stronger because viewers witnessed every stage of the journey. They saw the destroyed Ferrari arrive, looking beyond repair. They watched the failures, delays, and stress pile up. They experienced the moments where even Matt himself looked exhausted from fighting endless technical problems. That honesty made the success feel earned. Nothing about the rebuild looked easy or scripted. It felt real, and that authenticity is rare. As the project gained millions of views, one thing became obvious. People weren't only fascinated by the Ferrari. They were inspired by the mindset behind the rebuild. In many ways, the wrecked 296 GTB became a metaphor for resilience itself. No matter how damaged something becomes, rebuilding is still possible with enough patience and commitment. That deeper message connected with audiences far beyond the car community. Yet despite all the success, the rebuilt Ferrari still carried an invisible pressure. Supercars like the 296 GTB are judged harshly. Critics waited for something to go wrong. Some believed hidden damage would eventually surface. Others claimed the car could never truly return to factory condition. That skepticism followed the project constantly, creating even more motivation to prove everyone wrong, and Mat Armstrong kept pushing forward. Instead of hiding the risks, he embraced them publicly. Every challenge became part of the story. Every setback became another reason to continue. That fearless approach is exactly why the project captured so much attention around the world. Millions of people love success stories, but they become emotionally invested when success feels uncertain. The Ferrari rebuild constantly balanced between triumph and disaster, and that tension kept viewers hooked until the very end. Over time, the once destroyed Ferrari slowly transformed into something legendary within the YouTube automotive world. Not because it was the fastest Ferrari ever built or the most expensive project ever attempted, but because of what it represented. It showed what happens when passion collides with impossible odds. It proved that creativity and determination can challenge systems designed to intimidate ordinary people. Most importantly, it reminded audiences why they fell in love with cars in the first place. Because beneath the algorithms, views, and viral thumbnails, the heart of the story remained simple: a wrecked Ferrari everyone doubted, a creator who refused to quit, and a journey that turned one of Ferrari's worst nightmares into one of the internet's most unforgettable rebuild stories. In the end, the wrecked Ferrari 296 GTB became far more than just another rebuild project. It became a symbol of determination, risk, and refusing to back down when everything looks impossible. While most people saw a destroyed supercar worth giving up on, Mat Armstrong saw one final chance to prove that passion can overcome even the biggest disasters. Every scar on the Ferrari told a story of setbacks, pressure, and relentless hard work. And when the engine finally roared back to life, it wasn't just the sound of a repaired car. It was the sound of proving the doubters wrong. In a world full of people afraid to fail, Mat Armstrong took Ferrari's worst nightmare and turned it into one of the greatest comeback stories the automotive world has ever seen.